Welcome to Two Psychics. This is Michael Edley, evidential medium and mystic, discussing all things spiritual.
Hello, I'm Mary Amy of Two Psychics, an intuitive wisdom coach, tapping into your mystical life and sharing messages I receive about you.
What is up, everyone? Such a pleasure to be here with you all tonight. And there is Mary Amy. What is up, Mary Amy? How are you?
Hi. How are you, Michael? What's going on? How you been?
I'm good. I've been going nonstop, so it's nice to kind of slow down, unwind a little bit, be here with you tonight. And we have a fabulous guest, so it's good to kind of get into the groove, talking about some cool subject matter and being able to, unplug today. I was just doing some chores and some tasks, but I actually enjoyed it. I was like, wow, I've been going nonstop, that I actually enjoy doing a little food shopping today, unwinding and kind of being able to unplug. And now I'm here with you. So it's a good day.
I know, it's funny you're saying that, because yesterday I went through some kind of like energy that was bringing me down. And why did that happen? Because I wasn't realizing, because I'm empathic, that if I'm around somebody who's going down, like if their energy is in a place of negativity because something's happened, then I'm exposed to it. And so then I internalize it somehow. So then I went, last night I went, I've got to take this, I've got to get rid of this and see where I stand. And then today, along with other days, I've been having a lot of epiphanies. Like right before we started, I started realizing, without even trying, why do I talk about light? But before we get on to even more discussion, let's just remind everyone, here we are, Two Psychics. We're at episode 97. Woo! July 9th. That's huge. And we have guests coming up, which we'll talk about later. We have, for the next 3 weeks, we have guests till the end of July. And tonight we have Galaxy is our topic. And we have Debbi Dachinger. I'm not really sure if I'm saying her name properly.
Dachinger, I think. Dachinger. Debbi Dachinger, yes.
She is an ET, Contactee, and Galactic Shaman. So let's keep in mind, we give like maybe 8 minutes before we bring her out that we will talk about what Galaxy is. But I wanted to ask you, so what has happened to you this week that's out of the ordinary besides you went grocery shopping?
That's out of the ordinary. So
what happened? Because you have
I'll tell you what's an interesting thing. So we all hear about like Mercury going retrograde. So Mercury has gone retrograde. And what I found fascinating is I had so many people talking about Mercury retrograde in just different scenarios this week, and not like your normal thing. Like I was actually in a store and I heard a lady that was also checking out going, something had happened with her car, and she was talking about, and it's Mercury retrograde. So what else is going to happen? And it's interesting how Mercury retrograde has kind of gotten this mainstream, want to blame anything going wrong or anything bad on it. So it's just a funny observation that I've had. No, one of the things, what was funny for me, I found myself just getting caught up in like, go, 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 go. And I wasn't unplugging, and I was forgetting about my self-care. And I found myself getting like a little anxious or like a little uneasy or a little irritated in certain situations that were going on that I normally wouldn't be, or I would normally have a little more control over that. So I was like, I need to be a little mindful of that, or like what's going on there. And I was like, I'm just going, kind of grinding right now with, private readings, a lot of private gallery readings. And then I had a lot of different nonprofits that I work with, that I was doing a couple nonprofit events. So I was kind of going, grinding. And I was like, I have to slow down. And it was funny because today was one of those days where I was just able to unplug, not really think about a whole lot on my end. And it was good. I was able to ground out my energy. I was able to meditate and do a little breath work, look at what I'm going to be eating consciously, make my decisions on what I'm consuming, which is something that I think we all need to do. Many different aspects of spirituality can come into play when we just observe, we sit back and we observe, what's going on in this area of my life. Or, I was feeling tired and I was like, why am I waking up feeling tired? Well, I wasn't really sleeping good. I was, either on my phone or I was doing things on the computer late. So I wasn't mindful of my habits, or my mindfulness kind of got away from me a little bit. So that would be one thing I would remind anyone out there. Make sure you're implementing your mindfulness habits, and if you've gotten away from them, find something you can do to get back to them. That's a big thing for me right now.
Yeah, I think that's good advice or good guidance, because I don't know why this just went off. Because sometimes we get really distracted by so many demands that we each have. I mean, just to survive in this reality, we get distracted, and then we don't take care of ourselves, or we don't try new things. Like this week alone, or actually not this week, but in the last 10 days, I've done three like some kind of circumstance, whether it's like I'm helping them out, or I'm meeting somebody new, like for friends that are new friends. And that's good because they're positive and they're coming into my life. I can tell you today, I was on time for this part-time job. In fact, I was an hour early. I go out and my tire's down to a 16. So I said, oh, is it going to be one of those days? And I went and pumped it up, and then I took it to a gas station quick. And he said, oh, no, you have piece of metal. So he took it out. And then my day was just flowing and flowing. And I said, I'm really excited about doing this show tonight, because Debbie, who's going to be our guest tonight, has her own podcast. And she's had a lot of international experiences, and she's taken this idea of being a host and talking about otherworldly, paranormal, supernatural experiences to another level. So I'll be interested to hear what she has to say.
Well, it's cool having like minds, right? Like minds coming together to talk about things that are important. They're important discussions, whether people out there are questioning, is there truth to this? Is there not? Well, we're going to bring all sides of these stories. We're going to present this in a way that I think people can make their own decisions. But I think what I like about what we do and our guests, there's a lot of, there's a lot of factual information, authentic research, evidence. So, it's like, not only are we bringing people that have these really wild stories, but they're backing it up with solid evidence, and that's what I find fascinating right now. Is I think people that are still fearful of this, or looking at it as, what's going on with this awakening, or what's going on with, the alien scenario, and it's being talked about, or it's going mainstream. Well, I think it's just time. And I think these questions are just unfolding to allow other questions and other conversations to be talked about. You know what I mean? This is an awakening, so we can discuss many things that have been hidden and pulled back from mainstream society. So I love having guests, like the people we're bringing on, and the backgrounds they can present, and do this in the way that we do it. That's the cool thing. And I think when we can do it and present it in that manner, it's really hard for people to go, wow, they're crazy, or they're out of their minds, or like, what's going on with this? I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Susan? I see Suzanne.
Yeah, I know. Suzanne said, hi, Mary and Michael. Wow, episode 97. I know, and a sunshine. Yeah. It's funny because people will look at my social media and they won't know me, and they'll say, oh, she's kind of kooky. Like, what's her deal? And then they meet me and they're like, you're so serious, and you're not what I thought. And it's because, I'm talking from a place of having my experience, and I'm just saying my truth. And I am the biggest skeptic you'll ever meet. Like, I do not believe everything everyone says. I don't necessarily trust everyone either, because I've had situations that I've been very vulnerable. So I am probably a debunker myself until I do research. Okay, so let's get into the topic, because Debbie's going to be joining us. The topic tonight is galaxy, and I'm going to tell my little sentence about it, and then you can say, galaxy, what is that? Well, that's the universe. That's stars, systems of stars. It's hundreds of billions of stars. It's interstellar matter gases. It's our solar system, which is a glowing beam of light. It's the Milky Way, and it expands hundreds of light years. That's what I know about galaxy. I mean, it's what we know, that we've been told. It's not necessarily like we're going out there and being like, oh, you know, like personally, I can't see if that's true. I just have to take it by the science books.
What I think is so magical and magnificent when we speak or we hear the word galaxy, you know, to me, the first thing that comes to mind is the interconnectedness of everything. And everything that I am is everything that you are, and everything that we are is blended with everything else around us. You know, we are all one when it comes down to it. And if we look at galaxy and we look at the immersion and existence and creation of the beginning, when everything came from this omnipresent, powerful creator creation, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to say this omnipresent burst of energy, opening and expanding and blending all that is, was, and will be. And to think that we are all interconnected, we could tune into that and tap into that. Well, there's some really, really magical stuff. And for those that don't want to tune into it for whatever reason, I would say, you know, challenge yourself and ask yourself, are you fearful of what could come from it? Or, you know, what power could be present that you're holding back, that you'll fully manifest? You know, I think some people are truly afraid to see what they can fully manifest because some people get comfortable, you know, and a lot of us. And that's one thing I think both of us, I think we push our comfort zones all the time. And I think we get lots of other people to push their comfort zone. Seriously, I think that's a good thing.
You're right. It's true.
So think about that. We are all magical, blended stardust. We are all part of this omnipotent, magnificent galaxy. And if there's some crazy like thing on social media that's holding you back because you feel, you know, some people that you hung out with in high school, or someone that you work with, or someone, you know, that maybe is associated from a past job or whatever group this is, that's going to hold you back from creating something magnificent, you know, a piece of music, a piece of art, a business venture, you know, if that's going to hold you back from even choosing the path that you want to go and your soul is calling you, because you're going to play small, or you're going to try to make somebody else happy, or, you know, so many people living for, you know, my parents wanted me to do this, or I thought that this would be good and it sounded great until I got into it. You know, we are part of this magnificent, omnipotent intelligence that we can create. Remember, everything in this galaxy is created twice, once in the mind, once in this spiritual divine realm, and then we bring it into creation. We bring it into existence, into the physical. So this is the one thing I'm going to say. Do not forget that you are part of this magnificent galaxy that we are all blended in. And if you are getting some kind of weird download or vision or creative endeavor that you're holding back on, or you don't feel you are powerful enough to bring it to fruition, then give yourself a kick in the ass, or someone around you needs to kick you in the ass, because that is a divine gift. And that is such a beautiful process that we get being part of this interconnected galaxy, you know? So that is something that I think we should all tune into. And it's something that I would say is like what I feel is at the essence of the galaxy, you know, and that's divine creation. And anything artistic, anything creative is divine creation. So tune into that. When you're tuning into that and you're connecting to that, you are connecting to that divine energy.
Yes, we are all interconnected. And I love what you just said. It might be one of the most favorite things you've ever said.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I'll have to go back and look at what you said exactly, and maybe I'll take that and put that in my book.
I know, because I have crumpled up papers here that I'm going through. And I sat there feeling so bad the other day going, oh man. So
It's not that complicated.
I
You say a
know.
lot of intelligent things.
I'm sometimes I make
Also,
things complicated. You know, isn't that sometimes the mind, like
yeah,
our creative mind? You know, and that's one of the things we have to get past is we can overcomplicate things. And here I am trying to write this cool thing for you, and I second guess it, I crumble it up. And I'm funny because when I write, I don't write on the keyboard. I actually write with like a pen or pencil,
me too.
and I like scratch stuff down. You know,
Right
and
here.
yeah,
I
exactly.
do that too.
And there's just something about that. It's something about the energy of actually writing and the motion of it that I love connecting with.
Well, you said manifest, and I think
Yeah.
that's a really important phrase
Mm.
because I remind people all the time, and I do. This show definitely affects people after they've watched it or they've heard about it, because it does show an advanced way of thinking in that it's more free.
Mm.
Okay, it's more free thinking, it's more open heart, open mind. Manifest is huge, and this is for everyone out there. You manifest outcomes. You can change outcomes to be positive or negative. And how?
Mm.
Because each one of our thoughts has energy, feelings, and emotions attached. That's how people are telepathic. Or if you're thinking something, they answer your question. It happened to me today at lunch. I was thinking something, and then the woman across the table answered my question. We manifest our outcomes. So if you want something good to happen to you, the best thing you could do is say positive, think positive, say positive, and do positive. Don't downplay things. Don't be negative, and try not to be. Oh, we have more comments. Hi, Heather. Hi, Suzanne.
What's up, Heather? What's up, Suzanne? What's up, Kevin?
Not to say anything negative about or think about something someone else is doing, because whether you realize it or not, it will have an effect. That's why before you tell people what you're doing, because you don't know their response, make it concrete. Take steps, whatever that is. If it's research, like Michael said, if it's drawing a picture, if it's writing music, if it's writing a book or something, starting a business. Don't go sharing it with everyone, because guess what? It's a numbers game. Eventually someone's going to say, yeah, I don't think that's such a good idea. And then you're like, oh, maybe it's not. And you don't have enough energy to care. So don't do that, people. Don't do that. All right. I think that we should tell who Debbie is, because she's going to join us, and I don't know where she's coming from. I don't know the time. Do you want to say these comments? You say that before I say who Heather is? I mean, not Heather. I said Heather. Debbie. Heather, you're on my mind now.
What's up, Heather? No, yeah. Let's give everyone a little rundown. So, what I think will be a really cool, maybe a segue. So, what's interesting is I just want to just touch base a little bit on what you were talking about, is not disclosing everything when you have a creative endeavor, a small business venture. You know, and it's not that everyone doesn't want to have you succeed, but what you have to understand, there's a few things. When you're doing and you're striving, sometimes that puts more pressure on other people that aren't following through, like on their dreams or their goals. So it makes them feel less than. So you have to understand, a lot of people project that energy. So I think it's cool to just kind of keep it under wraps until it's ready to unfold. And there's so many variables, but I do think it's really important to understand manifesting is absolutely possible. Like, we could definitely do some shows on manifesting and do an episode on like specifically manifesting and talk about different things we've manifested in our own lives and different connections. And, you know, it is really powerful. And I can tell you firsthand, like it can absolutely be done, but there's a process to it, you know? And again, we are all interconnected. We are all creatures of this omnipresent, magnificent galaxy. And I do believe the galaxy is a galaxy that wants us to manifest and wants us to grow and wants us to create. This isn't a galaxy of lack. I do believe this is a galaxy of surplus supply. And I do believe there is like a constant regenerative like effect in this, you know, in this energy field. And, you know, so I think when people are coming from like a lack or a scarcity or like that fear mindset, that can stifle things and that can cause glitches in the matrix. So there's a process to that. We're definitely going to have to talk a little bit about that and like another episode at some point. But Yeah, so be mindful of the energy you're putting out. Be mindful of the energy you're taking in. So if that's someone's, negative talk or doubt, you don't listen to it or take it for what it is. But be very mindful of the energy. Be very mindful. We are all energetic creatures. Energy, frequency, vibration. Don't let someone's low vibrating vibes down. Bring your energy down. Right?
Yes. I agree wholeheartedly. Or shut it down. Put light around yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so Debbie's in
let's
the
talk about Debbie. Well, yeah, let's give everyone a rundown about Debbie.
Debbie, and I don't want to say her name again wrong, so I think
it's Dachinger. Yes, Dachinger. I believe that is.
No, I butcher names. Is a trailblazer in the realms of extraterrestrial exploration, shamanism, and channeling. She's very advanced in this area because she's been involved in this. I can't wait to ask her some questions. For the past 19 years, Debbie has been a journalist and the host of award-winning podcast Dare to Dream, where she explores UFOs, consciousness, and the mystical connections between ancient shamanic wisdom and modern spirituality. Her show has earned her multiple accolades, including 3 Talk Radio Positive Change Awards, a COVR Award, the best podcast show in recognition by WELP Magazine as one of the top 20 best podcasts to listen to this year. I don't know how we got her on the show. Debbie is a certified shamanic, because I tried. I just said, maybe she'll do it. I don't know. Certified
after the 250th email.
What?
After the 250th email, she finally answered.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I think because we're in the same realm as her, right? She is a Munay Ki Rites Practitioner. I can't say these names. We'll have to ask her. Trained under shamans, including Dr. Alberto Villoldo, Puma Fredy. I can't say these names. We'll have to ask her. She offers both group and private shamanic galactic healing sessions and helps participants awaken higher consciousness. This is huge. Just having her on our podcast will awaken and activate. And Galactic Healer. She's an experiencer, a multi-talented creator. She's also the lead singer of the band.
Yeah, I saw that.
Lyra. I love it. Performing
Yeah.
5 languages. Wow. She is
that?
talented and a keynote speaker who's presented at global events such as the Los Angeles Conscious Life Expo, World Congress UFOlogy, New Living Expo, the Channel Panel, OracleFest, and Portal to Ascension Glastonbury U.K. She's been on Gaia. I'm just going to hundreds of podcasts, radios, magazines. Now, everyone, she is an award-winning international best-selling author. Okay, so if you would like to look into her right here and now while you're watching the podcast, you can look up her website. It's DebbieDachinger.com, and I think it's on the description. So DebbieDachinger.com, and I'm going to bring her out right now, and I can't wait to meet her.
Yeah, we had her link. Yeah, if anyone wants to find her link in some of the 2 podcast stuff, we had her link. Her link is definitely on your page, 2 Psychics podcast, my page, Eye of the Spirit.
It's on the YouTube.
It's all around.
So please like and subscribe to us and Debbie. And here she is right now. And we don't even know where she's coming from, out in the galaxy. Hi, welcome.
What is up, Debbie? How are you?
I'm very good. I'm happy to be here. I don't know how I ended up here either, but someone in the galaxy said this would be the place to be at this time, so I showed up.
So, can you raise your volume a little bit? Because I don't know why it's. I feel like, is there a way to raise your volume?
There we go. How's that?
Perfect.
Yeah, there we go.
I don't use StreamYard, so it wasn't.
You were sounding like you were a galaxy far, far away. Now you are in our galaxy.
So nice to meet you.
Hello, Debbie. Pleasure having you here with us.
Thank you. I was saying in the beginning, I don't know how I ended up here either. But somewhere in the cosmos, somebody said, this is the place to be and this is the time to be here. And I said, okay, I will do it. Let's see what unfolds. So it is a pleasure. It's an honor.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming aboard and coming here. And so where are you? Where do you live? Where are you from? Where do you live?
I'm in California. I'm in Southern California. I'm originally from New York, but I've been living here a very long time. And so this is what I call home base. And the last name is Dachinger.
Dachinger. Yes.
Like Dachinger, the snow.
I think that's a beautiful last name, actually.
Thank you. It's real.
It sounds like a rock and roll last name. And, in the description, you are a singer. No, I'm curious about this. Musician to musician. How much of your creativity did you find you were tuning into, like psychically or intuitively? It was like you were drawn to that. Did that start at a young age, the artistic and the intuitive connection, or like what was first? Where did that unfold in this process?
Yeah, music was definitely first.
Yeah.
My first love, my first language. And I was also an actress. So I did a lot of musicals. I sang with a big band. I sang with a jazz band. I did lots of things around music. And it's funny, I don't know about intuition with me, but it was, a deep understanding. I actually had a difficult time reading music theory, took it so many times. And for some reason, the way my brain is set up, it just wouldn't click. I didn't have the science, I didn't have the math, and that was really frustrating. And my grandfather was very famous in music. He was an inventor. He wrote books, all the great things. And he was a wonderful speaker. And he gave me such a gift as a kid because he could see my frustration. And he said, Debbie, you feel music. You understand music. Most people never get that. Let the technical stuff go. So, and I have people tell me I have perfect pitch and relative pitch and all that stuff, but I love this expression. I love this way of connecting with people and transforming a situation. We just came back from a trip to upstate New York, and somebody flew us in for their retreat, somebody who channels extraterrestrials, and there were over 100 people there. And every year they ask us to do a concert. And so we like to bring down the house. And that's the kind of music I like to bring.
Oh, very cool. Well, it's interesting because what I find when people are trying to tune into their intuition, or as far as like their natural mediumship abilities, is when they're in that space, when you're creating and just you're in that realm and everything is gone and you're just feeling that energy, you're divinely connected, whether you're creating a piece of music or you're singing and performing or writing, it's even painters, when they're in that mode and just that creative flow, I find that's the same. It's that same energetic connection that I want to get to as a medium, and people I'm trying to teach mediumship to or tune into their psychic abilities. It seems like, that's the sweet spot. It seems like if people are having a hard time tuning into their intuitive abilities or trying to connect or trying to meditate and they're having a hard time, I find in that creative flow, that's where they can tune in. Do you find that similar thing?
Yes, I absolutely do. I maybe go about it a little differently than other people, but for me, for instance, doing mushrooms and listening to music at the same time, I've been able to walk into the matrix of music and understand even songs I've never heard before. And I knew exactly where they were going. I knew what the harmonics were, and it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot, and it's been a tool I've been able to use going forward. Sometimes I get asked to do things that are really outside of my quote unquote comfort zone. If I'm speaking at something and a leader may say, hey, can you come up and do this? Will you sing what everybody's saying? Or will you be an auctioneer? All of these are true. And some people might get stuck, and I might have gotten stuck before, but because I had this musical experience, also in ayahuasca, I had profound musical experiences. It has freed me with so many things. It's like just diving into improv and doing it and trusting the flow and where it's going to go. And that I'm all right. I'm okay. So that's my relationship with it, is to, like, it is a world unto itself. And that world changes all the time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it sounds to me, or I sense, and it's funny because I was going to ask you about yourself as a child, and you kind of touched on that already, about when was the first time that you did some kind of creative endeavor, because I don't know why. And then Michael asked you, because I guess we both sensed the same thing. For some reason, I received that it was a very young age. You already knew, you've already lived so many other lives, and maybe that's why you're almost masterfully handling a lot of different areas. And do you sense that, have you had, I know we're kind of jumping, but now I'm going to ask this question. Do you sense that you had already, before this lifetime, had extraterrestrial, other dimensional experiences for you to move into so much of this, like a young age? You said even it was 18, was it 18 years ago you've been talking to ETs?
Yeah, I haven't been talking to them that long. I didn't believe in them. I was very spiritual, but I thought that was BS. And I thought people were crazy who talked about it. So I was very shut down to all of that. And then I had this profound experience out of country. It was an ayahuasca experience, but that the divine came and started speaking to me, and she was giving me very specific information about myself. And it was very confusing. It was beautiful things she was saying, but I was like, I don't relate to this at all. And because it was so confusing, I came back and went on a journey to better understand, but that journey changed my life. So it was approximately 7 years ago when I came on board and went, oh my God, this is true. And in answer to your question, I probably here on Earth, but most definitely I have been extraterrestrial, other dimensional, star being for most of my life. How do you say life, right? In a soul. But for my soul's duration thus far, and even concurrently, I absolutely have been on many planets doing many things. So I think this was a big awakening as in a remembrance for me to come back into it. And then I changed my show. So I was very spiritual. I talked to channelers and psychics and all the things on my podcast. And then I'm like, oh my God, this stuff is real. And it's a great opportunity for me to learn more through really impressive guests. So I started inviting people I could learn from about this subject on my show. I mean, it really took a big left turn. And I'm fortunate that my audience didn't run away and say, what is up with this girl? They just followed, and they also became very interested, or some of them were already interested in the subject. So I feel like, I guess I awoke exactly when I was supposed to.
Thank you.
It's good. When the soul knows it's time, it awakens, right?
Yeah,
Now,
the soul says, let's do this.
one of the things that we always like to ask, and one of the things that I think our listeners find fascinating, is the journey that it took to get you here. So now, some people grow up, well, okay. So, some people are in a very religious family. So they're open to spirituality. They're open to some different aspects of something else exists beyond this physical realm. Some people are shut down, oh, that's evil, or, anything psychic, anything medium, anything ET, that's crazy talk. So, some people have a more open family. Some people aren't institutionalized. Some people it's supported. I'm blessed in my own family. Half of them Hungarian Romney gypsies, one grandmother reading tea leaves and palms, the other one devout Catholic, but fortunate that, my grandmother would be praying to dear St. Anthony and her keys would show up. So she was into the mystical aspects of it. So I would have to say overall, I was supported. I wasn't institutionalized. What was your upbringing like? I mean, did you have like a spiritual family that was open to this, or like, was there any talk or on this journey? Was it, I don't believe any of this. There was some kind of revelation and all of a sudden you're on a different path. Like what does that path look like?
Yeah, that's good. And first of all, I have to say, I totally forgot you guys were psychics.
Yeah.
You were saying things
Yes.
like, they're sussing me out over here. What else is going on?
So if weird electrical stuff starts happening, don't mind it.
I like it. I really like it. So that's a good question. I would say I grew up in New York, very, very liberated family, very liberal, very open, very progressive, all the things. And my grandfather, who did speak all around the world, was really into psychology and very advanced things and experimenting and all of this. So I would say there was that openness. At the same time, I just came in with this, I was so sensitive, and I would see things on the wall at night and they scared me. I almost feel, Michael, like I could perceive dead people, and I just went, click, this is too scary for me. I think there was a lot I could do. So I just shut it all away. It was super mainstream. I didn't know any different, right?
Yeah.
And there was always this drumbeat inside of me, this fascination with healing, this fascination with tarot cards and astrology. And then as I got into my 20s and I started to understand people channel, and I started to follow channelers, that was beautiful for me. The growth that started to take place, the understanding of things, piecing things together. And then I went on to my acting and singing life, thinking this stuff, healers, energy work, and people who channel, that's just something I dabble in because it helps me grow. It took me being on radio and sitting in front of these people and asking questions and listening to them 19 years ago today, this month. And I realized, oh my God, what have I been doing? Spirituality is my greatest value. This isn't just something I dabble in. I love this. This is so important to me. And that was a really big shift. And so when you talk about the shifts that got me here, they're big pivots, big life pivots. Moving from New York to California, that was disruptive and big. When I gave up acting, and that was a very mindful decision that was created out of a lot of confusion. I was getting the most amount of jobs and something else was happening inside me. And I tried to regulate it so that I could still work, and it wasn't going to be regulated. And I finally went, okay, then I surrender. I have no idea. This has been my identity since I'm a baby. What else could I be or do? And I had 3 years of just following energy and trying all these wonderful things that I truly loved, but I knew they weren't it. And because I was doing cartoon work towards the end of those 2 years and loved cartoon work, I thought, I want to get more jobs with my voice. That's how I got into radio. And I blessed that strangeness for thinking that was going to be some connect, because I was really supposed to be there. And so there I am doing radio, and again, I'm starting to have these awakenings. This is my biggest value. This is the thing I love the most. And I start writing books and getting interviewed on radio, and people back then, 18, 19 years ago, because people didn't do that a lot, saying, how do you do that? So that's the next pivot. I built a media company, and I was teaching people how to write a book, how to become a bestseller, how to get interviewed. And that was my life for a while. And I loved it because I worked with very spiritual people. And the next pivot came when I got this internal call to drink ayahuasca. And I was like, what is going on? Because I had a lot of judgment about that too. I didn't know, why would anyone do that? That's so strange. And all of a sudden, grandmother ayahuasca's like, knock, knock, who's there? Come sit with me. And I did. And on one of those trips, I went to Costa Rica and I did 4 nights back to back. Drink, drink, drink. I was held by very indigenous, amazing shamans. And starting on that first night, the divine came and it was very clear she was God. And she said, Debbie, you're a shaman, you're a healer, you're a priestess. I don't think so. Like, what does that mean? I know healers, I can't heal, and shaman, like I'm some white girl from California. That's embarrassing. And look at these amazing beings holding this room. So I argued, and she was very gracious. And she came back the next night and wanted to tell me once again, you're a shaman, you're a healer, you're a priestess. And every night she showed me another aspect of myself. And by the final night, she insisted that I get healings for being a shaman in front of these amazing real shamans. And that was 20 minutes of arguing until I was exhausted. Here I am on ayahuasca and arguing with the divine and just like, okay, I'll go do it. When I came home, a friend that I confessed this confusion of what had just happened and been spoken over me said, well, why don't we just do some regressions and timeline things and see what comes up? And absolutely right away, I started seeing past lives as a male shaman, very distinct lives. And in our sessions, by the final one, I saw myself as a priestess in a pyramid. I was Mayan and I was a leader of the Mayan people. And I was over 7 feet tall and extremely skinny. And before I left her presence to come back here, I was so curious because she was one of the most amazing manifestors I'd seen. And I wanted to understand better how she did what she did. And I came up with some assumption that made sense to me in a 3D world. And she shook her head and she raised a finger and telepathically said, I'm not from here. I'm from another galaxy. And when I came out, I just knew truth. I had met an aspect of myself that was galactic, that was not from here. And I was rather in love with her. And I realized the enormity of the gift I'd just been given. And because I'm a journalist, I can research the heck out of anything I'm interested in. And that put me on this huge journey to research, what is a shaman? Who are the extraterrestrials? What does all of this mean? So I'm concurrently taking programs with these brilliant shamans, most of them from Peru, men and women, and then also learning about the cosmos and planets and other beings and wars and all the things that have taken place in our genetics. And it's been years of that. And it's been a very fast uptake of this world. And I became certified. And at some point I realized I want to start helping humanity. So I do these, well, I do lots of things. I speak on stage, I do programs, but I also do these once a month healings. I have one coming up and it's a shamanic galactic healing and people join on Zoom from all over the world. And I just get out of the way. And I let my shamanic lineage, and I let the galactic beings, the benevolent beings come through me. And we do some beautiful things together for these folks who I think people really need this right now, this relief and this, that's my direction. And oh, I got to heal this and shift that. So these are the many different pivots. And the beauty of the music piece, I'll just say here at the end, is I gave it up 19 years ago when I got on radio. I just didn't have enough time. And I had to say to the band, I'm really sorry, but this is the way it is. And then I was in a Huachuma ceremony. I hadn't sung for years. And the divine came and said, what happened to music, Debbie? And I thought, gosh, I don't know. I used to be an amazing violin player, singing my whole life. And like, yeah, what happened? And when we were done with the ceremony and sitting in an integration, and we were all sober, it was our time to explain, if we wanted, what had happened. And I got to that and I said, wow, the most interesting sort of confusing thing. And when you're in an integration circle, nobody speaks to you. You get to share and that's complete. There's no crosstalk. But there was crosstalk when I shared, and I'm so grateful. It was perfect. It was perfect because that shaman, who was an amazing flautist and musician, said to me, do it, Debbie. It never left you. Start again. And here I am, my partner I live with. He's a classically trained guitarist. I'm a singer. Like, we never did that together. We never talked about that, but he was at that ceremony too. And right away, we started doing music. And so those have been some of my many twists and turns of how I got here today. And many of those moments felt like, this is it, this is right. But I know, I think I know, this is it now. This is who I've been meant to be.
So
Wow.
what's really interesting, so let me just touch base with a couple points of your journey. So, well, what I find fascinating, I do believe that not only are you like a natural teacher, but I do believe you have to be on the front lines, also having the experiences and showing people firsthand, you know, this is what I'm teaching, like that. So I love that aspect of that. You're not just, it's not like, hey, I read some of this stuff, I thought it was cool, and now I'm teaching it to others. It's like, I'm doing this because my soul pulled me into it, dragged me through it. I'm on the other side of it, and I want other people to see the beauty of what I experienced, even though it may be frightening at first. So, you know, I commend you for that, because it's definitely, especially, you know, I get it, because knowing, like, same thing, you know, I was a business owner. I was kind of ingrained in all these communities where I was battling kind of coming forward as a medium and letting this side of me, you know, come out and embrace it. And it took a long time. I almost feel like there was a little bit of that in you too, a little bit of, you know, you were fighting it a little bit. But like what we say here, when your soul's calling you, it's going to keep calling you till you embrace it. You know, you finally embraced it, and it was a magnificent awakening. What I'm curious about, so there's a couple different things you had touched base on. Obviously, psychedelics were definitely something that opened and awakened part of what you were seeing, what you were experiencing. But also you talk about like past life regression. So that sounds like that was pretty integral of those experiences, kind of showing you what your past was. What would you say to anybody listening that's a little confused of maybe, where's my path going? Where have I been? I'm a little lost. I'm not sure how like where I should go, what I should do, but my soul's calling me for some of this spiritual healing, this energy medicine, you know, I don't know what it is. What would you say? Okay, start here, or at least look at these, you know, few things: past life regression, psychedelics. Like where would your list be on that? And how would you recommend someone to begin?
I am very cautious about psychedelics specifically. I just want to get that out in the beginning, because it's not for everybody. It really isn't. And don't think just because I or anybody else had an extraordinary experience, whatever, you'll know if you're called to it. Trust me. I used to almost have panic attacks waiting in the front of the room for my cup of ayahuasca, but I knew I had to do it. So just trust that. As far as all of it, and it's such a good question, I am a firm believer in trusting energy. I think it's so much pressure if one does not know, oh, I want to be an author, I want to be, you know, professional gardener, I want to run a clothing store, I want to, you know, do this Reiki, whatever it is. If you're not super clear to trust energy and don't put pressure on yourself, sometimes it is not in our DNA. And I really believe, like your human design, your numerology, all the things, you're not always meant to know. I don't think I was meant to know. And some of us are meant to fulfill needs. Some of us are meant to be the forefront people. I would say, do what delights you. Do what excites you. And if you see a program and a teacher and it's like, you don't need to know the how or the why. That looks amazing to me. Or yes, I really want to experience that. Just do it, because the next thing is revealed and the next thing is revealed. It really presents when we're energetic perfectly aligned and at least moving somewhat in the direction of our gifts, of our soul's path, of things that will help awaken and activate us, it will happen. You don't have to know everything in the beginning, but just follow the path that presents and feels the most exciting to you.
So, Debbie.
Mary Amy.
Okay. Because you've had, I mean, obviously we probably could ask you 1,000 questions related to the extraterrestrials, but I'm going to start with this one. Which was the lowest vibrational extraterrestrial that you came in contact with, and which was the highest vibrational?
Okay. Oh, wow. The lowest? Sorry. But they were the Alpha Draconis. I also want to say this because I'm learning, and I'm still learning a lot about duality, because we live in a planet of duality and a lifetime of duality, and the same is in the cosmos. And so I'm really learning about withholding judgment. So even though I say that about them, and there are many reasons why I say that, this is not a kumbaya group of extraterrestrials. This is you piss me off and I'll blow up your planet without an explanation group of beings. At the same time, they are very loyal and they have qualities that I admire. They have no judgment about sexuality. They will have sex with men, with women. It's totally fluid. That's their lifestyle. I like that. Anything that leads to the no judgment. But this warlike way of being is a lot for me. And sometimes the things they say about humans, I don't like so much. So for me, they're not the beings that I want to hang out with the most. They're a little beastie, right? They have a very bestial quality, and they're intense. The highest, wow. Well, that's most of the beings. And that would be two. So one of them is the felines, the Lyrans. Those are my people. That's my family from Lyra. And so I feel them a lot. And I know they're very involved with my life. And there's especially a male lion. And we have this incredible bond. I don't know all of what it is. I don't know if he was a lover, if he is, a friend till the end, if he's been family, father, what exactly. But he is a great protector of mine and a great educator of mine. And the other beings, very, very, very high vibrational, who have visited me in my dreams, are these beings of light. And that's the best way I can describe them. They're like columns of light. Sometimes they've come to me like with hoods on, but it's just bright, bright, bright light and columns of light. And they'll stand in a circle, and it's all these columns in a circle. And it's so beautiful, this connection for me, that it's beyond when someone has a flying dream and says, oh, I want to fly again. I know that one, but this is like, to be seen and loved and known. And all you have to, I just feel sometimes they come to just let me be, just be with me and give to me. And so those are the very highest. And I have a bit of a, I'll have to come up with a name for them because I can never think of like how to describe them, but they're not a collective because they're not connected to each other like that. And they're not a galactic federation, but there is a group, and they're different beings, different species, and they spend time with me. They do a lot for my career. They're the ones who open all these doors for what's been happening to me. And they really have cheered me on and believed strongly in me. So that grouping is also very much involved in my life. But almost 100% of the time, I am with very benevolent galactic beings, the best of the best.
Are they visiting you? You're saying in dreams. Are you having lucid dreams? Are you having visions of them? Like, are they coming through because I've had experiences as well. Mine come through down as downloads, and then they come through as like it raises up my density and pours energy in me, and then we have a transmission which seems hologram, I guess you could. So that it's almost like we're talking on a video chat. Are you having experiences where you're traveling, like some kind of travel to another place, or are they coming to wherever you are?
Yeah, it's an amalgam of that. I've had them visit me where I am. I can see the lion beings. Visually, I can see them. And I also travel a lot in dreams. They're not lucid, but when I travel in the dreams, this has only been the last 3 years. And I think it's constant. I go into other lifetimes of mine that are happening right now. And I've experienced myself in different careers. I've just very interesting people I know in this lifetime. They are different in that other lifetime, but they're also there. And I think I'm constantly traveling. And it's very cool. Somebody once described it as, this is the me now, and this is the me in whatever other life. And we're going at night while I'm sleeping, but there's almost this beautiful merge that occurs. So I believe that there is that transmission, that there's information given and received as we pass and before we go back, thankfully, to our respective lives. That's a lot for me. And even sometimes, like this retreat I was just at, we were being taken through very powerful meditations, and I don't know where I go. I don't remember much of what this magnificent person was leading us through, and it's really uncomfortable after when everybody's talking about, oh, do you remember the Transformers and this and that? And I'm sitting there going, no. But I went someplace super deep and trance-like and just, and I guess that's where I was supposed to be.
What would you say to anyone that's curious, or they think they've had their own experience, they're not sure, maybe even someone that's working with like psychic energy, or someone that's starting to experiment with mediumship, and they feel like they're connecting to a loved one or trying to connect to a loved one, and all of a sudden some shifts happen or these other connections start happening, and they feel like now I'm connecting with some other alien race or some other being, but someone that's here, it feels different, or like, what is this energetic connection? What would you say to those people? Like, how should they take a step back and go, okay, I'm not crazy, or what am I experiencing? Like, what's their 5-step process to go, okay, what's going on here? How should I move forward?
Yeah, first of all, I would say protect yourself. Don't go forward before you protect yourself. You don't know. You don't know what's trying to attach itself or connect with you. And that is first and foremost. I would absolutely call in the light. I would let it be known that only beings of the highest order and the highest light, I would call in your guardian angels, like whatever it is you're tapped into, protect yourself. I'd also let anything out there know this is not an open portal. This is not for sale. There is no way you can attach, because I am of the highest light, and you must really see yourself as that. And then once you feel, and even if that's all you work on in the beginning, that's good. until you feel super confident, like, oh yeah, no, I got it. I am in the light and I am protected. Then you can start very gently asking questions. I think it would be different for everybody. Some people see very well and they may see the being. Some people auditory and they may be spoken to and hear things. Some people may want to do automatic writing. There's a lot of ways it could manifest, and it could happen in your dreams as well. But I think also to make sure you're safe, like don't be connecting with me while I'm driving or when I'm at work or being interviewed or, anything like that. Let's keep this clean unless I'm a channeler and we have an agreement for you to come through and I know the being you are and it's okay. So I think safety mechanisms first, then get really clear about who you are connecting with. Why do they want to connect with you? Did you call them in? Do they have a message? Are they you in another life? Are they an advanced form of you? Are they family? Or did you sign a soul contract saying, in this lifetime, I'm going to be the conduit for you? And then find out, like, how expansive can it be? What can I do with this? Is this for me? Because sometimes it's just our highest self coming through. And it wants to give us a lot of beautiful information we feel we're not accessing as our conscious selves. And then sometimes it's even bigger than that. It's a being, a collective, and so forth. So I would say play, and it's probably good to let somebody know what's going on. And if you feel anything wonky and you don't feel confident, like something or weird things are happening or etc. And not that would. Most of us really are of the light. But I would say, and then there's beautiful healers out there who can clean stuff. I work with somebody all the time. And not because I have to, but because I'm growing so much is happening. I've got somebody, twice a month I work with because I'm always I feel like I need to keep upgrading for all that's happening on Earth to humanity, why I'm here. And so I really want to be present for it all. So that's my suggestion, is to get to know the being once you feel safe and then see where it takes you. There's a lot of people coming online right now, out of nowhere. They're suddenly channeling, they're speaking light language. It is the time where this veil is thinning and gifts are coming online and telepathy is going to be a thing, hopefully in my lifetime. But it's real. It's very real because it's supposed to be. As we ascend, this is how it's supposed to be. And this is also how we learn to understand each other and love each other, the more gifted we are.
Yeah, I love that, Debbie. Thank you for that explanation. I think anyone out there that was curious or not understanding, I think you gave a fantastic overview. And I love approaching this in a way that, we do have to protect our energy. We do have to be aware of the energy that we're coming in contact with. We do want to look at this as, this is an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn about ourselves. So I love everything that you spoke about. I love that mindset. And I think anyone going about this would absolutely be doing themselves a disservice not approaching it in that way, and not trying to approach it in that authentic, evidential way. What's going on here? How am I experiencing this? And almost systematically going through that process, then allowing that process to unfold with them being in control. And I think that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people are under the assumption that they're going to start tuning into this or working with it, and they've given up complete control of their body, or an alien's going to jump in and take over and start manipulating them. Well, I mean, can those things happen? Possibly, could that, if you're playing around, but I don't think people understand the power that we have and how much control we have over this and how much we can learn and grow into this ability, and like I like explaining this stuff a lot like a musician, so think about it as guitar. We can all pick up a guitar, maybe, pluck some strings, but some people are going to maybe tune into that and be a little more naturally gifted, born with a little more of a talent, but we can all learn about it. We can all grow. Maybe we start off a little rock and roll, but then we learn classical, or we learn some jazz or country. We learn different aspects of it and we can fine tune it. And I think that's, so I love the way you approach it. And it's not like, hey, this is the way you do it, and this is the end all be all. It's an ongoing shifting learning process. And I think you still clearly state that. And I think that's something everyone out there should take to heart, that when you're on this journey, this journey is going to unfold much differently for everyone out there. Everyone has their own, whether it's your own dominant psychic abilities that may be a little different from somebody else's, your own life experiences, stuff that you've been in contact with that you can understand and open and tune into versus someone else. So everyone's experience is going to be different, but approaching it in a way that we're, I guess, the eternal student, we're always learning, we're always growing, we're studying. We can tune in and tap into other talented people that have abilities, and brainstorm, learn, grow. So, and Debbie, I love that. I love your perspective on this. So I just, thank you for that.
Yeah. And I want to say yes to everything you just said. And I love this at the end because that is very true. There is no separation, period. And energy is energy. And you can look, if you want to be an artist, you can literally channel the greatest artist of all time and say, I want to paint like, or I want to sculpt like, or whatever it is you want to do. There are magnificent beings that have come and gone on this planet that you can connect with. I know someone who did this, and out of nowhere became a singer, out of nowhere became a photographer, and a gallery was showing all his photographs. He'd never done it, but only because he tapped into the greatest photographers before him, that energy. And the other thing is, and this is a beautiful call for all of us to raise our frequency. Lower frequency invites in the things we don't want. Lower frequency means that things can attach to us. So it's a really important time. If you're angry, if you're frustrated, if you're fearful, anxiety, whatever's coming up, we're human. We have emotions, but they're really here to be felt, not suppressed, but felt and processed so they can be emoted out of us and eventually transmuted. And I say that because the higher you keep your frequency, the better it is for you to connect with the highest beings.
I really like that you had recommended that everyone protect their energy, because sometimes when you're doing different work that's not mainstream and you forget to remind people, and sometimes you forget yourself because you are tapping in, you just use the word tapping in, tapping into all these energies, and some of these energies can show themselves in a way and manipulate you, or you underestimate it. So I think that's really, really valuable that you mentioned that. I also would like to say that what I'm realizing about you today, Debbie, is that you have this ability to not only, obviously, you said you're a performer, you speak eloquently, and I can see that you're a writer. But it's interesting because sometimes people are either a performer and they're reciting someone else's words, or they're a writer and they are not wanting to be on camera. And you have this ability to be able to do so many different talents and creative endeavors. And can you tell us a little bit about your books? Because you're an author, and I'd love to hear about, we have a couple comments. Love is best, John says. Can you tell us a little bit about your books? And I know everyone would love to hear that.
Sure. Thank you. Well, the first book is called Dare to Dream, This Life Counts. And that's when I was understanding how to put together dreams. That was a huge awakening for me. And I literally learned the architecture, if you will, about I'm here, my dream is there. So what happens in between to get me to the finish line? And a formula was gifted to me. And I put together this bucket list, and I'm like, all right, let's see if this works. And I mean, one after another after another. And then I'm like, there is no stopping me now. whitewater rafting. I did a marathon, an LA marathon. I mean, I had big things on my bucket list of places I wanted to travel to, things I wanted to be and do. And so that first book is all about creating dreams. And it was exciting for me because I wanted to give people something that they could do on their own and feel like, okay, now I have the formula. And the second book, what is the name of my second book? Isn't that funny? Well, it'll come to me because I can actually see there's a picture of me.
It's behind you on the wall. Isn't that it on the wall?
Oh, you're a genius.
You're funny.
Yes. The second book, Wisdom to Success. Thank you. There you go. Yes. Wisdom. So this one is amazing. It's like, is a lot of conversations. Thank you for that, by the way. Yeah, I had another book that was my second book, and I was about to put it out. I was about to go to edit, and all of a sudden I heard, this is not the book. I'm like, what? Yeah, this is the book. I'm like, are you serious? I have to start again? You have to start again. I'm like, I never put out that other book. And so this became the book, and it was a great book. It got me on radio and all sorts of stuff. And it's interesting because it's a lot of storytelling around the same subject, but lots of stories about completely different subjects, relationships and success and health and all sorts of things. And then I compiled many anthologists. I work with a lot of authors. So we did a book on dogs, and we did a book on overcoming things, and different authors would come aboard, and that was really lovely. I am pretty clear that I have another book inside of me. I've known it for a while because, they're entities, literally. They speak. And I've known for a while about it, but I've also known I need capacity to write it. And I've just been too busy traveling and speaking. And that may start to want to be written in 2027. And I'm doing a few things creatively around that. And, I'll be very transparent with you guys. And thank you for the kind remarks, Mary Amy, that you said about me. I'm still growing. And there are things that, they're very hard for me to get myself to do. And if I don't want to, I'm not going to want to do it. And so just to fire up a video and start talking, I can't tell you how difficult it is for me, because I'm always like, well, what am I going to talk about? Nobody's talking to me. What am I going to just start talking about? So I'm still working on that, work in progress, because it's so important, to keep connected with folks. And the other one is my vulnerability. And so believe it or not, ChatGPT called me out and said, your newsletters right now, they're like this, and people like you for that. But you know what you've never done? You've never really written something very vulnerable, and that's your superpower. I was like, okay, challenge accepted. So I did. I sat down, and just this week, I wrote and sent out a very vulnerable newsletter, and I'll send it to anybody here who wants to read it. But I had a really profound experience and very unexpected experience recently. And I decided I'm going to share this with people. I'm going to really open up about this. And it's been beautiful. Folks writing back to me based on the newsletter, connecting to them around the same subject. And so again, with this book that's out there, it's going to be some of that. I think it's going to be some real, this is me stuff, my journey, more memoir-esque, and also probably funny. There might be some very funny moments, because my life is quite like that.
Are there some of those stories that, I don't know if I should put that in, but it's going?
We'll see. Well, I was a book writing coach. So what I can tell you is it all goes in there.
Yeah.
Everything goes in your book, but that's the first draft. After you've written the first draft, that's when the work begins. And most people think, I wrote my book, I'm done. But it's not like that. You wrote your book, and really another phase of work begins. So I will go through it. I'm a great editor, and I won't edit my own book, but I will know yes, no, yes, no, and I'm fine to cut anything out that doesn't serve the ultimate entity of the book that wants to be born. Yeah. So everything, all the stories, Michael, Mary Amy, they'll all go in there, but whether they'll make it to press is a different story.
Nice. I know Mary wants to ask about some ET stuff. I know she's got it brewing in there. So I'm going to let you ask some of the last questions or last question, Mary, because I know it's in there. So I don't want to screw up the last question.
No, you have a great question. Well, about the extraterrestrials, do you believe, no, okay, I have two questions. It's not going to be one. One, and I was going to ask you earlier, but okay, one question is, you actually said it. Why are they contacting you? So do you know why the extraterrestrials have contacted you? And do you know is it part of your mission? And do you know what their mission is?
Yes, it is a big part of my mission. And it relates very much to what's happening on the planet right now with disclosure. Because people like me are called first wave contact. People who channel extraterrestrials are first wave contact. Before all the hype that a lot of people say, I wish, I can't wait till I meet them. Won't they take me up already? You'd be terrified. Trust me. They're so advanced. Most of them don't have bodies and don't speak. They don't need to. So, and many of them, some of them look like us, but most of them do not. And so there would be a lot of uptake. But we are part of the galactic family. The bottom line is we are them. Those are sisters, children, uncles, aunts, grandparents, us in the future, all the things. And we are literally, and I'm not making this up, there is science behind the fact that we as humans, we were never like this, but we have thousands of species of advanced extraterrestrial genetics in us. Francis Crick, who discovered DNA, said early on in the 1920s, 1930s, and he came right out winning a Nobel Peace Prize, and then also saying, and by the way, what I'm seeing, it's not possible that it came from Earth. So it's this thing called panspermia, where advanced civilization spread life. And we were one of them. I mean, we had a bit of a mess up in the beginning with the Anunnaki, who manipulated our genetics, but we're very lucky because we're so beloved by many of the species who said, what you did to them, that's not okay. They're not a slave race and they have free will. You're not supposed to do that. So we have beautiful donations from so many and 5 dominant among the thousands. So I say that because we are moving closer and closer to finally reconnecting and becoming part of the galactic community, which is where we belong. Of course, the wars on this planet, the abuse of the earth and each other, they don't want any part of that. And they certainly don't want to be shot down from the sky. So they're very cautious. But they also can sense that folks like you and me, folks like who you have here listening or watching us, who are light workers, we are growing and awakening. Babies are being fully online, knowing past lives, speaking other languages. And this is meant to be. And it's meant to be because one timeline, should we choose it, is to reemerge with our galactic brothers and sisters, our benevolent galactic brothers and sisters. And we'd be in a whole new epoch once that happens. So I'm in a big world of many other amazing people doing this work, speaking on stages and doing their level of work for first wave contact. That's what mine is. And I think what distinguishes me is because of the skepticism, because I was so like an eye roller in the beginning. So when I meet another eye roller, it's like, it's cool. I get it. I really do get it. And more as I go out there and people ask me, well, tell me, what is your podcast about? What is Dare to Dream about? And I'm like, all right. Well, we talk about channeling, shamanism, and extraterrestrials. And it used to be that it was, you could feel the energy shift and it was not comfortable. And now, for the least last year and a half, I just am forthright. And people say, oh my God, I've had experiences. Oh yes, I'm really into this. Can we talk about this? I have so many questions. I love it. I welcome it. You want to talk about this? I am down, because it's an important conversation. I think that's why Steven Spielberg, in all his channeling brilliance, knew to release this movie, write that movie, film that movie, and release it right now. I believe there's a lot of cogs happening. All the whistleblowers and government coming up and saying, I'm going to tell you what's really going on as best they can. So, yep, that's pretty much what I'm doing and why I go where they call me to go.
I never know if Mike's, I can't tell if Mike's, are you stuck, Mike? Sometimes he freezes and then I don't know if he's going to ask a question.
No, I was just muted. I didn't want excess noise.
So basically what you're saying is that we are in disclosure, and mainstream is joining in whether or not they choose to or not, because the extraterrestrials have their own deadline.
Not exactly, some of them, but not exactly. You know, we may have divergent, very different timelines. And it may be that some of mainstream who just can't get on board with any of this hokey pokey, metaphysical, gifted telepathy, all this stuff, and extraterrestrials, they're probably like, no. And they may live a great life that really suits them. And then there's those of us who we really knew what we were signing on for, and we're here for it. So yes, I believe that it's very possible that things will shift. And the other thing I think is important is like a timeline shift is not so much like, it is like coming up to a fork in a road, but it's not like you suddenly turn right and all the scenery is different. We do it constantly, all day long, every choice, every thought, every new adventure, or we deny ourselves the adventure. We're constantly creating our life in our timeline. So I'm pretty sure the folks, at the events I go to and et cetera, and there's lots of people on the earth who are really ready for this. And yeah, enough said.
We'll find out. It's coming soon.
I'm curious. So I do have a question around this. So with all the disclosure that we're seeing come mainstream, we see a lot of traditional religion starting to talk about this as aliens are demons, demons are aliens. Mm. So obviously, there's some kind of cover up, manipulation, things trying to be misconstrued, but what's your perception around that? Why is the church so vested in trying to make people think that aliens are demons? Because, oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, they don't want to lose power. I think it's the same story it's always been, and it's never changed. If you knew the full picture, you wouldn't be in the church or the temple or the monastery or wherever. It's painful because it's not true. And the truth is the Vatican knows everything since the 1940s and before. They are heavily involved. Yeah. So it's a party line to keep people coming back. But also, when you create fear and separation, then there is a right and a wrong. Now, the church is right. Stay with us in the fold. We'll take care of you and just believe in this, this, and this, and you'll be okay. But to actually point to something it's so hurtful, anything that is way advanced than us, that would never, these beings, most certainly the ones I know, they would never consider to have a war, to harm another. Sure, they have disagreements sometimes, but they don't settle it like some earth beings would. They don't live like we do. They recognize there's animism in everything, meaning there's a soul, there's a life force and a rock and a river and a mountain and earth herself who sustains us, who we live on. They would never consider abusing their skies and their rivers and their earth, their crops, putting chemicals, like it's very strange to them, right? But they love us for our love, and they love us for our resilience, and they love us for the connection that we are, and because they can see this desire with many of us to supersede all of that and become something else. So I think it's a great disservice that any religious and don't buy into it. That's all I can tell you. Have discernment, know the truth for yourself, and don't let anybody tell you that anything is a demon. This is an angel. This is a demon. If you believe in that, when they come, and that's media. That's also, if you notice, they've never come. The big insectoid creatures have never landed with guns from outer space and started shooting and blowing things up and controlling people. That's in the movies. And so be very careful the kind of media you can consume. Don't feed the monster, because it's not true. And that is not what any of them are about.
Oh, I love that. Don't feed the monster. I think that's good advice for anyone, just don't turn on your phone, your social media, or the news first thing in the morning. And it's funny, so many people, they'll get up. That's what's the first thing they do. Let's see what's going on. And I think now more and more people are realizing, obviously the tragic and horrible headlines pull your attention in. What is it, like a 70 to 30% differentiation between the two of negative headlines versus positive? Something crazy like that. So with that being said, where do you see this awakening, this disclosure? Like, where do you see this going now? Obviously, organized religion is trying to push back on it a little bit. I'm sure they're kicking back on people saying, we can't have this disclosure, or maybe there are some that are going, well, we need this. But where do you see it unfolding now? What's gonna happen in these next few years?
Well, I think absolutely, Michael, that we are the disclosure, the civilians.
I like that.
I think that the whistleblowers in government, they're doing the best they can, but they're taking their lives in their hands every time they step out of their jobs and speak the truth. I mean, the good news is that Trump went to alien, and we can't call them aliens because that creates separation, but the star beings, the star people, they're real. There are extraterrestrials. Barack Obama said it. Trump said it. Okay, oops, it's out of the bag. And we have amazing senators, men and women, and congressmen and women who are speaking the truth on camera about this and saying, boy, what I've seen, boy, what I know. So that's real. And any faction can say whatever they want, but you are hearing it. If you rely on your government, you're hearing it from the top, even though what they're disseminating is highly redacted. But still, they are saying it is true. They exist. We have had contact. So as far as us being disclosure, I feel like anytime we step forward and speak the truth, I see UFOs constantly. I've seen so much craft of all forms. And I love that they present to me. I'm very comfortable when they do. I feel like it's a little wink, like, this is for you. Happens on the freeway for me all the time in LA. Nobody else will see it. I'm like, are you guys kidding? Where's my phone? I'll take pictures, more fun when I have people in the car and they see it too. But I see it all the time. And I know they're real, and I know they believe in us. And I believe that things are going to happen. I keep hearing this. Unprecedented things I don't know, but they're going to happen. And they can be anything as wonderful and benign as Steven Spielberg new movie on disclosure to much grander things to start happening. And even Three Eye Atlas, which was a consciousness that was very aware of us and observing us, is another form that got people talking. So it will be things that get people talking about this subject. And as you well said, getting it more and more into the mainstream so people are more comfortable to bring up the questions, to get curious, to want to know more, and maybe to start having their own experiences.
So is there anything you would like to, oh wait, is my speaker off? Can you hear me?
Yes, I was.
I keep muting myself. Oh, we do have some comments here. Hi, beautiful people. So interesting, I truly believe.
What is up, Eric?
And would embrace who or what comes my way. Truth, compassion, and kindness. A better world is coming.
Yeah.
So, Debbie, what would you like to say? We really are glad you joined us tonight from California. What would you like to say to everyone? And what can you share for your services, what you offer? You know, if anyone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way?
Cool. Thank you. I usually get a download right away when someone asks me that question, and I went so blank, but because I think we shared so much, and I appreciate both of you for having me on. It was interesting. I could feel you very strongly. And so it was really interesting to feel you and how you operate. I'll just leave it at that, but I appreciate it, and it was fun for me. And I just would say they were in a time of amazing change. Remember, you're a light worker. Don't get waylaid by the illusion of the crumbling. It has to crumble, which means, you know, there'll be trouble and all sorts of things, but keep holding the light. That's why you came here. It's so important to keep holding the light because you're the piece of the puzzle to build this new world, this new earth. And I truly believe in that. And my website is my name. It's DebbiDachinger.com. If you spell it correctly, you'll get there. There's no E at the end, and there's no S in my last name. So it's DebbiDachinger.com. And I have a starseed gift. If anybody would like to know what starseed they are, you can go to DebbiDachinger.com/starseed. And that is to find out your galactic roots. Like, where am I from? What was I? And it breaks down everything, the physicality, the career, what your proclivities are, weaknesses, strengths. Very, very interesting. And there's a video and a great report that comes with it because lots of people are wondering about that right now. And as far as the healing, it is coming up on July 29th that I'm doing pretty soon. And I would say just reach out to me and I'll send you the link. It may be DebbiDachinger.com/healing. If you want to write that in the notes, I think maybe DebbiDachinger.com/healing if you want to sign up for the program. And for whatever reason, it's not so what I just said, then feel free to contact me on my website and someone from the team will send you the correct link so you can sign up.
I'm sending you a rainbow.
Oh.
I just got that because I just went and sent you. So I went and telepathically was like, hi. And then I just sent you a rainbow.
I'll accept that.
So anyone out there that wants to check out what Debbie's doing, we will put all her contact information in our two psychics, social media. Mary Amy will have it in her social media. I'll have it in my Eye of the Spirits with Michael Edley social media. But Debbie, thank you so much. We really appreciate you sharing your insight and your perspective. And I think that perspective will help a lot of people understand that, you know, they're not alone on this journey, and this journey comes to us in many different ways. You know, it's not clear cut, but I think trust the process and trust that divine calling and connection is within all of us. But Debbie, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything you've shared with us, with our guests. So I do have one question. I can't leave without knowing. So being a musician, like who who is your top singer or top band? So give us some music. Give us a little insight into the musical influence of Debbi Dachinger.
Oh, I mean, old school. Stevie Wonder.
Nice.
Sorry, hands down, done. Close the book.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
And then I loved Grace Slick. I was a
yeah.
huge fan of Grace Slick. I like kind of the raw voices, the rough voices a little bit.
When there was no auto-tune and singers had to sing, right?
Seriously. You know, that is such a thing, Michael.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows that. At this retreat we were at, there was this woman and she had like a gabillion followers, singer, right? And we listened to a bunch of her tunes. We didn't even realize who she was. She just seemed like she was someone in attendance there, but I'm good friends with the people who were hosting this retreat. And they're like, no, this is who she is. Check her out. And we're listening to her music. And I'm like, oh, damn, snap. She really has a voice. They got her to sing for us. And and she does have a voice. She really has good equipment. But I will say, I was sitting out there and I'm sure 100% of the people couldn't hear it, but I could hear all of it every time she was under the note, over the note. Yeah. And I thought, woman, you have a good team working every time you release a song. You're correcting things.
Well, it's funny. See, a lot of people today, especially the youth of today, don't understand. You know, prior to the digital age, you had to go into the studio and record and have all your parts down and play everything to perfection. And there was really this artistic craft and mastery that occurred in the studio that we don't have to. Well, we still have. I shouldn't say we don't have it, because there's absolutely artists that still do that and embrace that. But the kids today absolutely don't understand what went into all the classic music and how it was created and how special that made it. You know, it made it so different than what they have today. And that's why I think it's cool for anyone out there, not only listen and understand different music, but in your training and growing in your energy healing, in your Reiki practice, in your psychic abilities, in your channeling, we can learn many different aspects from many different people. So that is why we are so thankful for you, Debbi. We thank you for your insight, your guidance. And yeah, I can't wait. I almost feel like you had talked about you and your significant other, classical guitarist, and creating. I feel like there's some beautiful meditative, angelic music in there, and I almost feel like it's almost like he's gonna succumb to the essence of doing like meditation or pulling in the blend of classical, because I can, being a musician. If he's a classical player, oh man, and like your voice, the things that you two could probably create if you haven't already. I can only imagine that there's some really magical stuff there. So I can't wait to hear it. I'll say that.
That's very psychic, because we do that. And there's times when he'll play a classical song and I hear something else and I sing to it. All I do is notes, but it's so melodic and beautiful. And these are classical pieces nobody's done this too. There's another one I write rarely, but sometimes I write poetry, and I've written it about very outstanding moments, and it's profound because people think it's about them when they hear it. And he'll play like a Arturo Barrios piece, and then I'll speak the poem over it, and that's very powerful. And we used to do more of the sound baths and the ceremonies and bring in that meditative aspect. But thank you, because I feel like that could make a comeback. We could revisit that again and do the sequel.
It's almost as if you had to have the experiences and go through what you did to be able to do what you do now. It's funny, like Mary had spoke earlier, that, you've experienced and been in many different modalities. You've been in radio, TV, acting, stage. But I almost feel as if it's like your soul knew you needed those experiences to learn and grow through those to have the skill set that you have now to present and do it in the way you do, so it all happens for a reason, right? And people that think their growth is stagnant or they're off track, well, there might be a reason why it's happening in that way. And maybe it's preparing you for some greatness that you don't realize yet. And I think, we're we're all firm believers in that, you know. And again, Debbie, I feel like I don't want to keep you till midnight, you know, even though you're in California, so it's a little earlier by you. It's already, you know, it's already the wee hours of the night here by us. But I appreciate you, Debbie. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to hear some of that music. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. It's there.
All right.
I think your singing raised your vibration too, because you went to a level like, so I do chanting because I had a speech problem, and the chanting, I don't know, it did something to my vibrational frequency, and the singing probably did the same thing for you, because it brought you to another dimension or realm because of your voice, your actual voice, not even your spirit, but your voice, because their ETs react to that too, an actual voice.
Yeah, 100%. And to both of you. And that's why sometimes extraterrestrial channelers would fly us out places, because we do a concert, we do something curated just for them. And then we get UFO sightings and like massive amounts of connection. So they absolutely know. I mean, they not just telepathy, but for them, it's about frequency. Music is important to them as well, although it's very different than our music. But thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Debbie. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, much love, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
That was great. Okay, so I just want to say, Suzanne said, have a great show. Such a great show. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I want to just give a little quick rundown of who's coming on. I'm just trying to put this. Nope, that's not what I want. Yes, that's what I want. Okay, so everyone, I know this was an extra long show, but you know what? She was special, and we had a lot of questions to ask. All right, so everyone, we have here. I'll pull this down so I can read it. Okay, so we have next week. We have at July 16th. We have Kevin Young, who's an intuitive coach and has telepathic connections. He knows how to contact people telepathically, so maybe he can give us some lessons. We have July 23rd, Lee Allen II, who's a paranormal investigator. And then we have July 30th, Tony Rodriguez, who's a secret space program experiencer, author, and remote viewer. And he's done a lot of these kinds of conventions and expos and events that Debbie's done. And I know she actually interviewed him.
And speaking of events,
that's right. You go. You say. You tell
July 29th, Wednesday, July 29th at Pelham Rails in Pelham, New York. We will be bringing you two psychics. Pelham. I always say I got the Jersey boy accent. I don't got the New York accent. So we will be bringing Two Psychics podcast to you live. We will be bringing psychic understanding, psychic information, do a psychic presentation and a mediumship gallery, and talking about all this cool stuff that we do. The first 50 people will get a free crystal from Mary Amy.
Oh my gosh. But let's say everyone start buying the tickets. You can go to Eventbrite, put in psychic events, Pelham, I guess any of the surrounding towns. Also, you can look at our Facebook page. We have it multiple times. And it's an event under Jean Dina Poli, who is an Elvis impersonator, and he got some acts together. So if you would like to come see us, it's $65 for a 3-course meal, plus the taxes at $71.
Get some good food,
good
drink, and you get to hang out with us. What more could you want?
What?
I said you get good food, you get good drink, and you get to come hang out with us. What more could you want?
Wear like a tuxedo, a ruffly tuxedo, and I'll wear an evening gown. What are we going to wear?
Yeah, all right.
We can't dress like this. It's an event.
Get our swag on. You know, we always look cool for our live events. You know, we got a we always got a little something up our sleeve for our live events, you know.
Yes.
Maybe I'll wear, I think I'll wear a kilt this time. Maybe I'll wear my Scottish kilt.
A kilt. Okay. I'm going to wear something glistening. It's going to glisten. So I hope everyone goes and purchases a ticket to come meet us July 29th.
29th, Pelham Rails. Come check us out.
And we will be back again next week. And I hope you like and subscribe to our channel.
Like
you can find
and
us
subscribe. Follow.
podcast on YouTube and Facebook. And we really
everywhere there's podcasts, you'll find us. And we will see
love
you.
You all.
Next
You guys.
time.
Go to the light. Go to the light. That's what I said. Oh, we got some comments. Before I go, let me just say them. Kevin Haggerty, thank you. Hi, great show. Yes. Okay, I love it.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We really appreciate you.
Night.
We'll see you soon.
Peace. Hi. Bye-bye.